10 o'clock. I think this is working now. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kelly Sire, and my joke for this morning is that I'm not actually Ricky Stamps, but I play her on TV. Ricky is taking a well-deserved day of PTO today, so I am stepping into her very big shoes to get things kicked off for today's town hall meeting, and just want to welcome everybody here, whether you're here in the room with us or you're watching us on television or catch us later on YouTube. So welcome everyone, and we're looking forward to going into what I think is finally going to be a halfway decent, pretty weekend going into Memorial Day. So we're anxious to enjoy some sunshine for a change. So to get started, I'm just going to read off a bunch of announcements that Ricky has for you, because as you know, our programs and events team always has all kinds of good things to tell you about. First of all, and this was just learned about this yesterday, we were inviting you to meet the Summer family, who is from Springdale, and they are local farmers, and Ricky has made arrangements for them to actually come here on campus and sell some produce that they grow on their farms, and they're going to be located, I think they're setting up some tables right over by the Villa Room, and so they'll be here from 10 o'clock right now until about 12:30 this afternoon, and you can hop by and pick up some produce, and we're going to do this in anticipation of the produce, of course, that will be coming from our wonderful Butterfield Gardens later in the summer. So make sure you stop by and say hello to these nice folks when they are here on our campus. We're very excited to tell you that on Memorial Day itself, so this coming Monday at 3 o'clock, there is going to be a 10-piece ensemble from the Arkansas Winds Concert Band, and they are going to be performing a wonderful patriotic concert for us right here in the Performance Hall. So if you are in town and available, please come and listen to this wonderful group do something very, very special for us and for our veterans. I should also mention that at 3 p.m. there will be a national moment of silence to honor our fallen veterans. So that will occur. So what we would recommend is just come on here to the Performance Hall. We'll have the moment of silence, and then the concert will begin. So it'll be a wonderful way to celebrate a very special day. Want to mention that the June calendars are out, so hopefully you've received your physical copy of the June calendar, and as usual, it's packed with all kinds of good things to do. Ricky has asked that I please mention to note those things that you do need to sign up for so you don't miss out, and make a note if on the sign-up sheets if there's mention of a cancellation date. Because there's maybe a fee associated with it. Make sure you remember what that cancellation date is, and if you are not going to be able to attend, make sure that you cancel. Take your name off of the list so you don't get charged an additional fee for that particular event. These are for things that they have additional expenses for that they have to cover for the event, and so when folks don't take their names off the list, they've still incurred that expense. So special highlights for June. There's a bunch of good ones. On June 9th, one of the best things that happens at Butterfield is the Dinner in Blanc. So that's coming up. That's become quite a tradition for Butterfield. That means dinner in white, and it features a pre-plated French-inspired dinner. We'll have some live music, and we will also have the usual table decorating contest that goes along with the whole Dinner in Blanc theme. So if you are interested in decorating a table, and it's a table of 8, you will need to reserve the table. You just need to talk to Michael Burks about that. It's first come, first served, and if you want to have a table, you need to talk to Michael. You also do have to RSVP for this dinner because it is a plated dinner, and that RSVP deadline is June the 6th, so a week from Monday. Just make sure you don't forget to do that. On June the 15th, we'll be hopping on the Butterfield bus to take a tour. We've got a group that is going to the Will Rogers Ranch in Claremore, Oklahoma. I'm sure many of you all are familiar with the amazing Will Rogers and what a cultural icon he was. And so this is a really neat thing to get to do. We'll also be visiting the Will Rogers Museum. So that's going to be a really fun day. Just if you do want to attend that, make sure you sign up for that. On June the 17th, the Butterfield Play Readers are back, and they have a brand new play ready for you that's called Matchmakers. And this is a romance event that takes place right here at Butterfield Trail Village, so you won't want to miss that. On June the 21st, we'll be taking a group to Art Ventures. I'm sure some of you have been to the Art Ventures Gallery before. It's a wonderful little gallery located near downtown Fayetteville. It's on Hill Street, and it's in an absolutely beautiful restored home that they have turned into a gallery space. And so they have rotating exhibitions there, so this will be an opportunity to see the new exhibition that's up and hear from the gallery representatives. And then the last thing I was going to mention is on June the 27th, we are going to be doing a special tour of the art at Tyson Foods headquarters in Springdale. You may not realize this, but there's decades of art collecting that's been done by the Tyson family, most especially John Tyson and his father, Don Tyson. And it's an absolutely stunning exhibition of pieces that represent all kinds of American art. And so you really, if you're an art lover, you don't want to miss this. And what makes this trip extra special is that Ginger Henry Geyer will be accompanying the group, and she's a sculptor, I believe, if I remember that correctly, and she's also Earlene Henry's daughter. So she will be along for the tour and help to explain some of what people are seeing and just add a little extra special touch to that. So lots of good things planned. Again, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day holiday, and stay safe. Next, we have our always overwhelmed, always busy Joe to talk about something pretty cool that has just happened.
So as Kelly mentioned, I'm Joe Permy, Director of Facilities. As many of you know, Karen Studdard left first of the year as a construction coordinator position, so I've been running around trying to fill both roles. And finally getting to sit down and talk to HR about the qualifications, what I was looking for, we realized we already had that and we're describing a current employee, Cody. He has the skill set, the abilities, and the personality, I think, to interact with vendors, subs. So we asked him if he would step into that position, and he has accepted. So this is our new construction coordinator, Cody Crespin. Now, knowing that there'll be some changes in horticulture, we're ironing that out, and we will keep you appraised as it continues to iron out. We may do a little bit of different structure, but again, we're just now addressing that because we got this addressed. So, the other thing I wanted to mention, I know is on many residents' mind, is renovations, the time and the cost that have both increased in finishing our apartments and renovating. What I thought I'd do is, well, the big picture, and most of you know this because you watch the news and you're very studious on this. There's many things contributing to that, everything from interest rates, the thing going on in Ukraine, leftover effects from the heat of the pandemic, fuel costs, wage increases, supply chain. We can go on and name. So what we'll mention is a few figures nationally, but then we'll zero down into how that affects Northwest Arkansas and especially us here at Butterfield with our renovations. So you may see on the news nationwide, I think the last figure is building materials have went up 3 times what they were pre-COVID. That's a little misleading if you're in Northwest Arkansas. The demand in Northwest Arkansas never slowed down. Therefore, I don't agree with that 3 times. For actual factual data, Landmark Homes, big home builder in the area, fills many subdivisions. So I was talking to one of their foremen, actually their manager, and they have a set house plan they use over and over in different subdivisions. Well, 2 years ago, their framing package was costing them $20,000. Last year, it was $40,000. This month, it's $80,000. So our area, it's more of 4 times the cost instead of 3 if you look at actual local data. Then you have national forecast for 2020. They say flooring cost is going to go up 10 to 20%, appliances 10 to 20, cabinets, lighting, electrical supplies, quarterly increases. So obviously we're not done with this. Now this is the bad news. There will be some good news at the end. I don't want to get everybody depressed. Labor cost up more than 5% nationwide. Again, remember the demand here. I think January, the job demand in construction, there were 384,000 openings, and they filled 259,000 of those. So you can see the deficit of what we're dealing even with labor. So here, what we're dealing with specifically to Butterfield is basically all labor, skilled, general labor, our subcontractors, tile installers, flooring installers. It kind of bounces around. It seems like you'll do good for a little bit, and then for whatever reason, there'll be certain trades having trouble keeping up. We have several different installers we use. Again, it just seems to run in cycles. When one company's installers are tied up, it seems like everybody's are. As far those are your costs. As far as timelines, again, nationally, they're saying cabinets 2 to 3 months out, flooring 2 to 4 months out, appliances 2 to 4, lighting 2 to 3. We're actually, for as busy as Northwest Arkansas, have been very fortunate. And part of it is the relationship we have with vendors and the negotiating we've done and the constant communication we have with them of upcoming needs. Locally, appliances are up and down. It seems like we can't get a refrigerator for 2 months, then we have 4 or 5 come in. As far as what we've done internally, we keep used appliances in storage. If somebody's moving in, we can't get a package. They may not be pretty, but they get appliances until we can get in what they've ordered. So that's how we've adapted there. John Fitzgerald, the manager at Metro, thank goodness we don't use Thermador or Viking. Those are a year and a half out, the high-end stuff. People are having to pay up front and wait a year and a half for high-end appliances. Maytag, Whirlpool, the things we use, again, they're up and down. We seem to be able to keep up in spurts. Right now, our biggest challenge is ice makers. You can get a fridge, but you can't get an ice maker for it. Just, again, some of the things to us. Flooring, 1 week we have it, 1 week we don't. So you'll and some of the newer move-ins here probably went through this, actually. You'll pick your flooring. We'll call you a couple weeks before it's supposed to go in and say, hey, we can't get it anymore. So we will try to find something that looks similar, even if it's a nicer grade, or you may have to go back in and talk to Dave to look at different selections. Because what happens is they run out of one, we go pick another, well, everybody else has done the same thing, right? Because they can't get what they want. And then delivery. Just last month, we had to replace, because of an issue in an apartment, some flooring. To keep it speedy for the resident, we chose local in a warehouse, which was Little Rock. 3.5 hours away. It took a week and a half for them to get it here, just delivery and shipping. Let's see, paint. One of the reasons our timelines have increased, we always use a product called Fast Dry. You put it on, you sand it. You put it on, 30 minutes, an hour later, you sand it. Turn around, do your first coat, sand it. Next morning, we could paint cabinets out in about 2 to 3 days. We can't get it. We are getting what they call slow dry when we can get it. And it has increased our painting timelines, depending on the amount of cabinets, from up to 2 to 3 weeks. And it's just the dry time. That's all it is getting it to dry. So these are just some of the normal items: trim, cabinet parts, doors, tile, all these. We have fluctuations. Again, we'll do good for a while, then we'll hit a glitch, and it slows down. We have, on our end, adapted. Again, communication with vendors, with subs. Some of the positive things we've done, about 70% of our subs still charge us the negotiated rate we agreed on 8 years ago. We've been able to keep them there. Some are okay, some are not happy, but for now we're keeping them there. Others have went up more so just due to keeping employees and some of the materials they use in that 30%. Obviously, it's frustrating and difficult for us, for vendors, for subs. The subs have been very willing not only to stay at their agreed contractual price, but if you've ever done construction or even a project, you like to go in on schedule, do your part, and go on to the next one. That's best for you, most efficient. When supplies don't come in, we're bouncing subs every day. Hey, we don't have this for this room. Go to this room. I know you can't do it all, but at least get started. And that's frustrating. That's extra time consuming. But that's how we're keeping things moving and keeping them here. An example of the relationship with our vendors, we mentioned paint. Paint 4 months ago was almost impossible to get. Our Sherwin-Williams rep, because we're a valued customer, I know he went, for instance, on days we needed paint, he personally went to Joplin one time, Tulsa one time, Little Rock another time to get paint from other store warehouses so we could keep moving. So we have good vendors, we have good subs. It's frustrating, but you can't blame them. You can blame the situation. And as far as staff, having Cody will be a tremendous aid, but obviously it creates our work because at the beginning of a project, I write a schedule, and normally there's 2 to 3 changes to that schedule in the time period it takes. Well, now that we've got increased schedules, I'm also having to rewrite them constantly, move people, call people. Our vendors, again, are bouncing around. Dave in marketing is constantly have to review selections to see what we can get, what we can't get, what we can adapt on. So it's increased work, it's increased frustration, but I wanted to share this just to let you know what's involved, but also that we're getting them done. I have talked to other areas that aren't really even getting them done. And it is not on my part, but on our subs and our vendors, it's still impressive because we normally had about 8 units at a time in progress. With COVID and not showing units and then everybody coming in at once, currently we have 18 units in project trying to keep moving with the labor shortage, with material shortage. So that's our struggles. I don't want you to take any of this as an excuse. I want you to take it as I want you to feel our pain so you understand sometimes when you see one in construction, it doesn't just seem to be moving. That's what we're dealing with. So I hope that helped, and everybody have a wonderful day. Well, any questions real quick on any of that information? Okay. Well, if something comes up later, feel free to email me. Thank you for your time.
Well, good morning, everyone. Many of our staff are out today, so we got kind of a short meeting today. I appreciate Joe and his the comments he was saying, and many of you have heard the same thing from me, but I thought it'd be beneficial if Joe came up and told you he swims in that stream every day, and it's it's a nightmare, but we're working through it. And as Joe talked about, as all things considered, I think we're doing a pretty good job given the circumstances. Now, one thing Joe did not mention is that Memo will tell you the same thing in dining. Getting deliveries, getting food products, staffing, of course, is a major headache. Tyler, our HR director, if he was here, of course, he's out today starting a long holiday weekend early, but he'll tell you the same thing on staffing. We have interviews scheduled, and we'll have 10 applications, and we'll call them, and they say, yeah, we're going to come by for interviews, and half of them won't even show up. I mean, they just literally don't even come to the interview. And then the half that does show up, there'll be 2 or 3 that we're able to make an offer to. And then of those 2 or 3, one of them may actually come and complete the paperwork. And so we're running, 1 or 2 out of 10 actual interviews scheduled to where the person actually ever completes the paperwork and is ready to start work. The good news is hiring seems to have picked up a little bit. So maybe we're starting to turn the corner a little bit. I'm hopeful we have. It may just be my wishful thinking, but right now I'm thinking maybe we begin to turn the corner. Now, when will it get better, significantly better, where we can see a difference? I don't know, but I do hope. I am optimistic we're on the upswing here. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So this kind of leads me into something I've mentioned before, and and I waffled back and forth on whether I was going to bring this up today or not. Since we have a short agenda, maybe I'll bring this up because it kind of bleeds into some of the things that we just mentioned here about our staffing and things. We have staff who leave Butterfield directly because of the way they have been treated by residents at Butterfield. And it's one of those things, I don't want to oversell this, but also do want to make you aware of this. You know, staff leave for various reasons, most of them personal, but we have had a number of important staff positions who have, and I'm going to be very blunt here, have been run off by the residents of Butterfield. You know, staff get paid to do a job, and we expect them to show up to work and do that job. We certainly want you, if you have a problem with a staff person or a problem with your food or a problem with your leaky faucet or whatever, definitely call maintenance, call memo, bring this up. I mean, don't just let it ride. Don't say, gosh, I don't want to say anything because I might make them mad. No, definitely bring it up. Definitely talk to them about it, but don't be real mean and hateful to it. That's the issue that we have is residents at times will be pretty mean and hateful to our staff, and that's what causes them to leave. Not that you brought up an issue. We want to fix your issues. We want to try to solve any problems we can. So one of the hesitations I had about bringing this up is say, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to, well, no, say something, but just do it in a polite, respectful way. If you need to scream and yell, come see me. That's what I get paid for. Our staff get paid to do their jobs. I get paid for you to come and scream and yell. So if you need to scream and yell, come see me. There's a number of reasons for that. One is I do get paid for that. Number two is if it's reached the point to where you feel you need to scream and yell, I probably need to know about what's going on because there's an issue here and I need to go see what it is and see what we can do about it. If you've called maintenance 3 times about your leaky faucet and they just haven't fixed it, instead of yelling at the maintenance guy who apparently can't fix it, come see me and yell and scream at me and you'll feel better and then I'll feel better because I know that I need to go find out what's going on with maintenance. So that'll make both of us feel better because you'll have it off your chest and I'll be doing my job. So anyway, I think that's enough about that. But if you would just keep this in mind, don't be mean to our staff, but definitely do bring up issues. And if you're having frustrations and they're not getting fixed, then come see me, call me, and I'll be glad to address it. So, okay, the only other real thing I had to bring up was I was told to read an announcement about spring cleaning. I'm going to get my glasses on here. We are doing spring cleaning as we talked about with labor shortages and everything. We've had trouble. We're late, as you know. Normally we start it like in April. But we have finally got spring cleaning lined out with a crew that is hopefully going to come in and hopefully going to do a good job. We had troubles last year with both the crew and the quality of their work. So we hope this crew is going to be more responsive and a little better, we hope. They are going to start next week. They will start with the village homes next week, and I think the village homes have already been notified of that. It will take approximately 2 weeks or so to work through the village homes, and then they'll do the cottages after the village homes, and then they'll move from the cottages to the apartments. It'll take, I'm going to guess, a week to do the cottages. You will get a notice in your mailbox as your apartment area or your area time to have your spring cleaning approaches. So for example, it'll be 2 weeks for the village home, another week for the cottages. So if you're in an apartment, you haven't got a message yet because it's still, about 3 weeks out. We're going to give it a little bit of time, make sure they're staying on schedule. That was one of our problems last year. But we will get a message in your mailbox as to, and we will try to do it at least 10 days to 2 weeks in advance. So you'll have a hopefully appropriate time to make your schedule to where you can be there when they come and do spring cleaning. Another issue we've got is because we are on a tight timeline and with limited staff to do this cleaning, we have very limited ability to do any makeup work. So if we're going to be in your apartment, this on a particular morning from 10 to 12 or whatever the time is going to be, If for some reason you just absolutely can't be there that time, we're just going to have to skip you and move on. There'll be very little ability for makeup, and the reason for that is we just simply don't have the people to send back to do your apartment. It's not that we don't want to come back and do it, or we don't want you to have spring cleaning. It's just these people, as soon as they finish us, they've got another job scheduled, and we're not going to be able to send them back and juggle the schedule around much. So it's really important that you hit if your time is scheduled on this day, that you need to be there and be ready for them if you can, because we may not be able to come back and reschedule you. So, yeah, I think that's all I had on my list. So, lots of things I couldn't talk about. Quickly, we're still working through I see Beth sitting in the audience. We're still working through our special care remodel. We've made a number of selections. We're working through some furniture. We've reached a point where it's trying to start costing things out. As you can imagine from the numbers Joe quoted, that we've got one quote in for one area already, and it's significantly higher than we had hoped, which is disappointing but not surprising. If the rest of the project comes in at these costs, then we're going to be hard pressed to do it in our budget, but we'll see. It's too early to throw out the baby with the bathwater yet. Hopefully things will work out. As Abraham Lincoln said, let us confidently hope all will yet be well. So that's my motto, and that's what I go with. So, but we are working through that, and we'll start getting our cost numbers together and see how it works out. And that's really all I've got. I'm going to open the floor to questions. Does anybody have any questions immediately? Okay, the comment is there will be, the spring cleaners will do the inside of the apartment now, and Joe's down here nodding his head yes. And then later on, there will be a different company that will come back and do the outside window cleaning. And Joe's nodding his head yes. So you'll have inside company doing spring cleaning that I mentioned scheduling, and then at a later date, we'll have outside people, a different company come and do the window cleaning on the outside. Yeah. So, yes, ma'am. The question is will they actually do outside windows on third floor of the apartment? And Joe is sitting here. So, Joe, yeah, why don't you just come up, Joe? Joe's been much more involved in this than I have, so let's get it straight from the horse's mouth here.
That is in the proposals we're sending out, doing all 3 floors. Ironically, the company and the guy that we had to do that was cleaning a second-story window and his ladder fell. So he's he's okay, but he's not working for a while. So that set us behind a little bit. We would have liked to have done it closer to the spring cleaning, but we're having to adapt. But yes, the goal is somebody who can handle all the windows, even the third floor.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, my understanding is there's a couple issues on, the question is about moving heavy furniture. Many people have collectibles and fine chinas and stemware and whatever in your apartment. The cleaners won't move those because of liability issues. If they break them, you will need to move those or arrange to have them moved. If it's also really heavy pieces of furniture, the people doing the cleaning may not simply be able to move them. That my understanding is they will move things like couches and things that they can easily move. That generally aren't very easily to break. So, Joe, am I saying any of that correct or? Yeah, we think what I just said is correct, but heavy stuff they may not be able to move if it's china cabinets, collectibles, anything that's easily broken, high dollar items that's easily broken, they won't move from a liability standpoint. If you want those cleaned behind, you will need to arrange to have them moved, move them yourself or arrange to have them moved, so. And I don't think that's any different than what we've done in the past, so. Yes, ma'am.
Windows are windows, huh? And the patio, outside cleaning will be different than the windows, or be the same?
The question is will the patios be different than the windows? I'm going to just, and Joe's not sure, I'm just going to assume there won't be the same, that the inside company will do anything on the inside, and then the window cleaners on the outside will come and do that later, I guess. Yeah, that's what I would assume, but. So the answer to your question is we don't know, so. Well, let's just say I don't know as opposed to telling you the wrong information, so. Well, any more questions before we adjourn for our holiday weekend? But I wish everybody a good holiday weekend. The weather's supposed to be perfect. My grandkids are going to be in town, so I'm looking forward to seeing the little tykes. But I hope you have a good holiday weekend and a happy Memorial Day. So.